We celebrate our nation, our future, Uganda, and believe in the beautiful game of football in Uganda. We believe in our mother body. Fufa, Fufa, when the boys and girls aspire to become stars, of the Uganda Cranes and the Crested Cranes and the Sun Cranes. Come on, our fans, our gallant fans, our sponsors, our dear government to support the beautiful game. One tribe, one family, one religion, one nation. It is our game, it's our country, it's our joy, it's our nation.
Hello, a very fantastic evening to you viewers. Wherever you're catching the signals of Sararights TV from, I would like to say thank you so much for always being hooked to Sararights TV. This is the best and the biggest evening sports show whereby we give you exclusive analysis in the world of sports. Remember, there are a lot of sporting stories developing right within West Nile, and I'll be talking much about Mohammad SHAABAN. Remember, he is already a free agent. Not forgetting the FIFA TV games coming up back at St. John's College Wombati down. It will be over the weekend. And shortly here, I'll be connected to Walter Bazagli, and we shall be talking about this game. Remember, he is one of the OBs of St. Charles Lwanga who have got an upper hand after beating St. John's College Wombati in the first phase. So we shall be delve into that with Walter Bazagli actually in a few moments time in there. We shall also be talking about Arua City. There's a big news coming in from the team in the name of Arua City Football Club. What the big news is what actually I'll be telling you. Remember, this team has been relegated from the regional leagues, and they will be playing in the lower league. That's Arua City Football Club, who has got a number of big name actually leaders. Who the leaders are actually I'll be breaking them into details for you in here. And the biggest one is Liverpool finally giving their bid for a player in the names of Alexander Isak. And the bid has been rejected by Team Newcastle United is the biggest thing that we shall be talking about at a later time. And then Liverpool also giving certain numbers to their players. Guess what? Their record signing in the names of Fred Witz will be done in just number 7. I'll be breaking that one into nitty-gritties, and then Chelsea Football Club, the big news for them here already, plus the latest that is coming in, then I'll be giving you much about that. But before we talk about all these things that I've kind of highlighted for you, let's first connect to Walter Bazagli, and we see whether Walter Bazagli will be important to pick my call, and we'll talk about the FIFA TV game. You remember, it's the biggest that St. Charles Lwanga always have got a huge upper hand when it comes to playing the FIFA TV games. Walter Bazagli.
Yes.
Good evening.
Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you? Good evening.
Good evening.
You're welcome on board. This is Sararights TV, and it's the time for sports.
Yes.
All right. Let's first talk about the FIFA TV game, whereby St. Charles Lwanga had an upper hand against St. John's College Wombati in the first phase, whereby they managed to beat Wombati by a goal to nil, and it was Palmer who scored the only goal in the 25th minute to see that Lwanga has got an upper hand against Wombati in the first phase. Yes, please.
Yeah. So I think for us it's a big thing.
Yeah.
The fact that we won a game at home.
Yes.
We are looking forward to keeping the results the way they are, away to St. John's College, but it was not an easy game.
Yes.
And we also know Mbachi played good football.
Yes. Yes.
We hope to contain them. They are a very good team. We also appreciate that they played very good football. But we are hoping to overturn the results. We have been here before.
Yes.
So the pressure will not be on us. The pressure will be on St. John's College on Mbachi. Our job is to maintain the win or contain our home win and look to progression to the last 16. That is how we are looking at it. But of course, we will try to contain them. We know we had an experience of their good players.
Yes.
Just number 21 was good and just number 13 was good. We know how to contain the midfield, and that will be the key for us. We are coming with high confidence. We know we have advantage, but we know we're also playing away.
Yeah.
We will come and make sure. And also, when you look at the history, St. Langa has always found St. Joseph's College on Mbachi a good hunting ground.
Yes.
In the last 10 years, I think they've been able, if you follow chronologically the results,
yes,
you realize that St. Langa has always been picking up points at St. Joseph's College on Mbachi. In the last year, St. Langa won at St. Joseph's College by a margin of 2-1.
Yes.
And went to play a draw in St. Langa. But now that in St. Langa they have won a game, I hope they can maintain the winning streak and come and pick a win in Mbachi to catapult them to the last 16. Yes.
Okay, let's first talk about the driving seat that's pushing this team going far and far when it comes to football TV games. Much as they're not doing well when it comes to Western football, that regional league, that regional playoffs affairs, they are not all that consistent when it comes to playing their trade in Koboko. But when it comes to football TV games, there's something very special with Sensual Sri Lanka.
There are two things that I think are lessons we should learn.
Yes.
It's about organization, organization and planning. I think the FIFA TV games have brought vibes to the team. The team or the school looks at it as a more open and transparent way of requirements needed for the players.
Yes.
The USSA games not to undervalue them or underestimate them. There's a lot of intrigue, I should say. The requirements at the district level are different. The requirements at the regional level are different. So you find a player who participated in the USSA games at the district level is ineligible at the regional level.
Yes.
The FIFA TV games are very straightforward. A player, it is not determined by the age. It is determined whether you are a bona fide student of that school. It is determined by if you have played at the national level. For example, in this last edition, you will be entitled to only have 3 players who have featured at the national level.
Yes.
That's if you have played USSA games up to the national level. You'll be allowed to put up to only 3 players, but the rest should be players who are not known. Again, it goes back to the vision of FIFA to identify untapped talent.
Yes.
You realize that most of the players of St. Charles Luanga in the USSA games did not feature because the USSA games introduced what we call transfer system in football.
Yes.
For example, Cesar Moffat was still in the system of Chibuli SS.
Yes.
But he's a bona fide student of St. Charles Luanga.
Yes.
So with these changes, you realize that FIFA asks, is this child a bona fide student of St. Charles Luanga? Yes. Is he attending school? Yes. Then Cesar Moffat can play the games. So as the old boys and the school, we have decided that we should prioritize a game where there's sanity. And you realize that in the USSA games there's a lot of hooliganism.
Yeah.
But in the FIFA TV games it is smooth and nice.
Yes.
I think we all need good reputations for our schools, and that is why we put more effort in these games, because they are better organized.
Yes.
And maybe that is why St. Charles Luanga puts more effort in the Football TV games, because there's TV coverage, there's national coverage.
Yeah.
And the advantage is that FIFA funds the games where the schools are given jerseys.
Yeah.
The schools are dressed by FIFA. FIFA partly takes up the transportation cost. So it is like it's promoting unity and friendship, and that is what I think it's all about.
Yes.
Maybe these are my personal reasons as to why I think St. Charles Luanga takes the FIFA games seriously. And the students are traveling. Last season we went to Bunyoro, from Bunyoro we went to Jinja.
Yes.
It is an opportunity for the students to travel across the country.
That's true.
The USSA games, you will only stop in Jumani, Arua, maybe, but you will experience a lot of tear gas.
Yes. Yes.
So maybe this is the motivation. These are my personal opinions.
Yeah.
About how the schools are taking the USSA games more serious than they are taking the Super TV games more serious than the USSA games. Then I would put a disclaimer. These are my personal opinions. As to why St. Charles Luanga takes the Super TV games very seriously.
Okay.
Yes.
But let's first talk about the primary target for St. Charles Luanga this time around. Are they playing into this game to see that they really want to reach up to the finals?
The target for St. Charles Luanga this year to lift the trophy. Last year we lost in Nabumale High, lifted the trophy against Ngangwa High School.
Yeah.
St. Charles Luanga was rated the 6th best school in the whole country. So we are looking forward to lifting the trophy.
Okay.
It is the target.
That is
our dream.
That's good.
That the trophy should come to West Nile. But football is football. You never know what happens on the way. Yes.
All right. Let's first talk about the plan of the OBs for these students who are playing for the school. In case, I know there's some plan for them somewhere. In case they go to the next level, there's always some place. Remember, those days when we used to be at school, we used to have those green goats. Maybe you guys can offer that one for the students.
From last year, we have been offering them 100,000 per goal.
Yes.
Each time the boys would score a goal, would reward them 100,000. That one comes courtesy of the old boys.
Yes.
The old boys have bought for them new branded boots.
Yeah.
We bought them from Ajaib. You know Ajaib Nafian?
Yeah, I know him very well.
The goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He has a sports center. We normally buy kits from him.
That's within town, yeah. Yeah.
So the motivation to the students is that each time they perform well, they are remunerated, and we give the money to the students themselves.
Yeah.
So the more goals they will score against Tombachi, the more money they make.
Okay.
Each goal is 100,000. So imagine beating Tombachi by 3 goals, that is 300,000. Courtesy of the old boys, and we always keep our word.
Okay.
That was from last year. That is what the old boys do to motivate the players to excel. Not only in sports but also in academics. High-performing students are rewarded.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Before I let you go, at what time will the game be for those who are watching actually as live from?
The games will be at 11. FIFA rules say the teams arrive 2 hours before kickoff.
The game will be tomorrow, right?
You expect St. Charles Luanga to arrive on Sunday at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Then the games will kick off at 11 a.m. at St. Joseph's School in Tumbachi.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. At least I know you're a busy man. You can give us your parting shots for us before we let you go. What I just actually gone offline. Actually, I wanted to know something about his personal overview of this school, but unfortunately, he has gone off the hook. But regardless, we have got the point from him, and that these games will be played on Sunday. St. John's College on Bati up against St. Charles Luanga, one of the biggest schools. They call it the class of brotherhood affairs. Remember, these are all the schools related to boys only. no girls attached. You understand what I'm meaning? So this will be one of the biggest games that I think the crowd within town has to be in place. Of course, we have known St. John's College Dumbas having the fan base when it comes to the OBs, when it comes to the students. They are really very massive, and I'm quite sure the support that you guys will be giving for both teams will spearhead one team to represent us in the round of 16. That's something that I think is much needed. Of course, we need to give these boys that mileage. This is an opportunity when a club can even sponsor some of the players. Like personally, there's one player who plays for Ombati in the names of DJ. The guy loves Donny, that's number 4. He is a very, very good actually midfielder. He can play for number 8 perfectly, number 6 perfectly. Even when it comes to playing in the central defense, the guy is amazing. He's called DJ. He loves Donny, that's number 4. Then there's one player in the team of Ombati as well. The students normally call him Bakola. He loves Donny, that's number 14. He is really a guy to watch in the team of St. John's College Umbati there. But for Luanka, like Walter said, a number of them, and the biggest one is a guy that Walter mentioned here, Caesar. Remember, this guy has been here within West Nile and he has played for Arua Primary School during his playing times. He is very short, but I can tell you what he offers on the pitch is really something that you think is N'Golo Kante. He is a holding midfielder, works tirelessly, and he is always there to command and control that midfield of St. Charles Luanga. You can't pass that boy at ease. If you have watched N'Golo Kante, if you have watched actually Vitina playing for PSG, I'm telling you, that's the caliber of a player in the names of Caesar in the team of St. Charles Luanga of Koboko in there. All the best for any team that wins here. We shall be proud to see these teams going forward. But if you're to ask my assessment, because I was live in Koboko when these two teams actually clashed, I can tell you, St. Charles Luanga, with what actually they showcased, they have got a huge advantage to surpass a team in the names of St. John's College. But that has got a great OB, Pabito Devigan, one of my best friends. He's an OB of that school, and Ajay Neston as well is an OB of St. John's College. But I think personally, I'll be there on Sunday. Much as I have got some other attachments somewhere on Sunday, but I have to squeeze some time. I have to go because we are not only here to give you talking points a lot. Of course, we needed to cover these games live to see that what we speak to you is actually the right information. What actually transpired on the pitch is what you really needed. For those who will be outside West Nile, for those who are in Kampala, it can be important to access these games here. We shall be giving you the clips of what transpired. As a relative, personally, I'll be there with my gadgets to see that this game is actually some clips are broadcasted, and we shall come and play for you them here to see that this is what transpired at St. John's College. But like what I said, the game will be at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Be there in time to see that you watched that game actually in person in there. Let's first talk about one of the first that we thought it was going to be a fast rising club in the city. That's Arua City Football Club. The latest we're getting indicates that with the fracas that happened there, with the ambition that players thought this being an institutional club in the actually in Western Oils in Arua, the club decided to go for a number of high-profile coaches or gone there, who once upon a time worked with the Kalba Football Club, was actually at the helm of that team sometimes back. They did actually appoint a coach in the names of Olema Hamza, who left the midway. They appointed Atiku also in at the helm. Things never clicked very well for the team at Arua City Football Club. They had a draft budget of around 60+ million actually Ugandan shillings. That money is nowhere to be seen. And I can tell you, this club, from playing in regional league last season, they were relegated, and it looks like it will now be playing in what you call the 4th division. You can call it more of a provincial league. That's a team in the names of Arua City Football Club. And here comes now the biggest breaking news. They are set to reappoint one of their former coaches, who has been at the helm of Liye Football Club, who has had a stint in Koboko Rising Stars, who has had a stint in Nebisendo Football Club. in the names of Olema Hamza. He is set to sign a contract with the team in the names of Arua City. The latest we're getting indicates that he has personally is only waiting that official confirmation from the club media officer. I know Abbas Hamza is one of the guys who is not team of Arua City. He works with the city council, then he runs the affairs of the club. Now when it comes to publicity, Yaka Alan, he's one of the social media personnel in that team of Arua City Football Club. Are we going to see this team come back to light? With the money that government allocates for sports, the city has got that money for sports. Where is the money going? Is the money going actually in the right hands, or it's going on the other way around? Of course, we have seen issues of corruption actually coming so much into the game of football. They have got one of the biggest actually fast-rising CEOs in the names of Papito Devigan. You understand? So he is at the helm. So in his first season with this team, he was appointed halfway. That's Papito Devigan for you. So can he stay put with this team and restructure his technical team, appoint and sign a number of good players to see that this team comes back and plays in what we call the regional league? That's the $1 million question that everyone is asking about this team of Arua City Football Club. So the number of players were crowned that their allowances were not paid. Of course, they thought that this being the biggest club in the city, they really wanted to see that their allowances were paid. Of course, a number of clubs, a number of players were looking for this for this club. Every player wanted to play for this club, and that's because of the manangas happening in the club. You really not see people coming in on board. Once they come in, at the end, they start complaining that their actual ABC was not actually fulfilled to the maximum. Of course, we have got players demanding actual sign-on fee for around 1 million. Personally, I was there when they were negotiating some deals. Of course, they wanted to give them 500 as the sign-on fee. I think what Arua City Football Club is trying to do is something that I thought there was going to be something that we will live to actually watch for a longer period of time. But with the fracas happening, it clearly says to me that there is a lot that this club needs to do in terms of administration-wise. Of course, we have seen some football mafias being actually inflicted into that team of Arua City Football Club already. I can tell you, if that mentality is not actually stripped off from that actual technical area, definitely this team will actually suffer. Of course, we have seen some people working with the DFA, and again, you want to affiliate yourself to work in one of the biggest clubs. What is the secret behind? Why can't you give opportunity for other people to work? And here you want to contest to be the chairman or as the treasurer of the DFA. That's something that I think we really needed to do a lot when it comes to that aspect. I'm not criticizing anyone, but also learn to give back to others. Of course, like for me here, I'll never be working here for a long period of time. Of course, if someone is better than me, if someone is close that he wants to work here, step down, give him the opportunity. Or else say, you come here, join me, work together. That's supposed to be how you're supposed to relate, how you're supposed to work. But with the look of things, we're seeing a lot of monotonous acts happening in the game of football, which is actually bringing Western down when it comes to football. And these are some of the things that I think Papito Devigan needs to look into serious if he's still part of that technical team. Of course, he oversees the club affairs. He's the CEO. So, it is to do with the club financing, it is to do with the club appointments. You have got a huge responsibility to play. Why can't you strip off some of these people away to see that the club activities are run smoothly? Of course, we have got the city sports officer who was currently who recently actually visited when Arua Primary under 14 actually played the final against Brightview under 14. You see, but we thought, with the brains that we have got, we can have a tangible thing here when it comes to football. Give opportunities for others. So that's my cry, and I'll be disappointed to see a number of these actual stakeholders being within, and you still want to what we call double click with works. It can't favor anyone. Of course, you yourself might be greedy for money, but also learn to give back to others. It's the club that are voting you. It's the club actually chairman, the club CEOs voting you to become the chairman. And again, you want to be monotonous when it comes to looking for works. Really, it caught my attention, and it is kind of very sad in my own view. Give priorities for others. So that's according to me about Arua City Football Club. And Ole Mohammad is set to become, and he is the proprietor of LS Sports Academy. And with the project that he's having with the team of LS Sports Academy, I think some of them can work very well for Arua City Football Club. Of course, we have seen some of his players playing for St. John's College Umbati. That clearly says that he has got a lot to do. Let's talk about Mo SHAABAN. You can keep on texting actually your comments on our social media platforms. I will be responding to some of them. Of course, a number of Western national born players are currently out of contract. One of them, under Junior, with the Ondopraka Football Club. You could talk about players like Tinde Geriga, who is having a 4 months contract remaining, but I'm told NEC has kind of accepted to renew his contract. On the list of players that NEC unveiled of recently, he is even in part of that squad. That clearly stated that he is going to be having some time again with NEC Football Club. That's Geriga for you. And then we have a player in the names of Gaddafi Wahab, who has crossed over. That's the latest I'm getting. He is currently training with a team in the names of Gaddafi Football Club, where Charles Livingston Mbabazi is. Speak something about Western players. What is happening? Why are they not actually getting clubs actually on time? Mo SHAABAN, the latest we're getting is he is actually out of contract actually ever since he crossed over to Libyan side in the names of Al-Hilal Benghazi. That's when Mo SHAABAN signed a 2 years contract, a 1 year contract, and his contract was done. And with that team, they haven't renewed his contract. And Mo SHAABAN, as I talk, he is in the country. And in the recent days, NEC came knocking for his services, but this guy opted to ask for around 200 million pounds, 200 million Ugandan shillings as his sign-on fee, and 10 million Ugandan shillings as his salary. Is NEC capable of doing this and pay more SHAABAN of this? That kind of money? I don't think NEC has got. They really don't have the capacity to pay all that money. If you pay that amount of money to just a player, how will be important to run the club affairs? Matches they'll be playing in the CAF Confederation Cup. Of course, CAF has actually allocated some huge amount of money already for them. NEC Vipers, they have got a money of around $350 to be given by CAF to them, just because of these troubles that they'll be making continentally, to see that their issues are run smoothly. So here comes the opportunity. NEC is also here knocking again for more SHAABAN. What does this one mean for SHAABAN? Does it mean that he wants to tour most of these clubs here in Uganda? Of course, we have seen him working with the Ondopraka Football Club twice. He previously played here. He went, he came back. That's more SHAABAN for you. And then he to KCC, to Vipers. And then he went abroad. And then he's back in the country again. Does it mean he really wanted to play in all these clubs here in Uganda? That's more SHAABAN for you. What best can he do? What best can his agent do? Of course, we know he has got an agent, and his agent is the one who runs his activities in the names of Sembija. Remember, Sembija is one of the most, as you say, football agents who has got that exposure of what to take the player out, but he is much more into money aspect of it. That's Sembija for you. SHAABAN has got a very huge thing to do. Can he be in position to have a great achievement with this team? Is the $1 million question that I think SHAABAN has to think twice about his future. Of course, he is not just an ordinary player, but he is more of a national figure. That's more SHAABAN for you. Can he cement himself to be one of the biggest players in Ugandan football? Of course, he has been a regular call-up into the national team when he's ever fit. He always have that in the place for him. Of course, Mo SHAABAN, Dennis Omedi, Judy Semigabi. This is the current players that Uganda is much relying on. So, up to now, the transfer market is only left with 1 month. Where will SHAABAN go? Does it mean that he'll still find a club within the country, or is there other lucrative offers for him? But we thought going abroad was going to be one of the biggest things for Mo SHAABAN. But in Libya, he wouldn't have that playing time. He was really given limited playing time down in Libya. But we thought that being a Muslim-based country, that's where Mo SHAABAN was going to actually sign in there. And he has not lived to the billing. He went to Morocco, things never, he went to Algeria, things never clicked very well for Mo SHAABAN. I mean Morocco. In Wydad Casablanca, things never clicked very well for Mo SHAABAN. What is happening with this guy? Does it mean that he really needed to try it just within East Africa? Of course, before he went to Libya, there were clubs in Tanzania. They were chasing for his service. Even young Africans were chasing for his service, including Simpa. These were the clubs looking for this guy's services. But I'm quite sure this time around, Mo SHAABAN will be destined just to be within East Africa. Of course, APR is signing players, but I don't think APR will be important to sign him again. Of course, they have got one of the prolific actual goal scorers in the names of this guy who plays for Uganda Queens. He's Dennis Omedi. He has crossed over. So, there, when he crosses over to APR, he will be having stiff competition with Dennis Omedi. So, he has got a lot to do. And the Argent, St. Peter, also have got a lot of words to think about the future of Mo SHAABAN. Let's leave that and talk about one of the biggest headlines making amends in here. I don't want to talk much about Ugandan stories. I will talk about this on Monday now, because time is not really our best ally here. Of course, I really wanted to give more time to see that we talk about other stories, to see that you are catered with everything in the game of sports in there. I don't want to leave you behind when it comes to giving you information regarding sports activities. Of course, the biggest one is actually at the helm of Liverpool, whereby this guy in the names of Alexander Isak, his bid was submitted by Liverpool, but the reality is Liverpool said he is their #1 target. They really wanted to sign him. Of course, they signed this guy in the names of Hugo Ticket. That's because he was having that upper. The price tag was not all that much compared to the one of this guy in the names of Alexander Isak. And Newcastle United were constant and they were very resistant to let this guy go. So now here comes the opportunity. Liverpool today submitted around 120 million pounds plus 10 million on add-ons. Newcastle United said, Liverpool, go away with your money. We don't want your money. Of course, this guy is still very important for us, and we are still going to play in what we call the Champions League. He is still very important for us. And Newcastle United are saying, if Liverpool truly wants this guy, Liverpool should be important to give them around a very huge amount of money, around around 150 million pounds, if they are really in need of a player in the names of Alexander Isak. Can Liverpool be in position to spend that money and make this guy to be the record signing in England? Of course, Liverpool still breaks that record for now. Of course, they signed a player in the names of Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen for around 160 million pounds. No club has broken that record in England, and Liverpool has done that. So, this is something that caught my attention, but I thought I also needed to inform the viewers about this. Of course, this guy is really an amazing player. Truly, there's no doubt about what he offers. That's a player in the names of Alexander Isak. what he offers for Newcastle United is something that is worth appreciating. And can Liverpool be in position to actually sign this guy? And Newcastle United are already looking for his replacements. That clearly says that he has got a very huge opportunity of leaving Newcastle, and he said that he wants to leave Newcastle United, because his priority now is to play for Liverpool, and Liverpool set him to be their primary target in the transfer. So here comes down the opportunity for him, and Newcastle United would now, with the look of things and with the set of new strikers for his replacement, there are talks about Johan Wissa of Brentford, and Johan Wissa said he is not really happy with what is happening at Brentford with him. Of course, he is even furious with the management of Brentford. He is kind of training alone even. That's Johan Wissa for you. And one of the biggest is a player in the name of Benjamin Sesko. Can Newcastle United convince him to come and play for them? Of course, he said that he is ready to play for Manchester United without the Champions League, actually European football. That's Benjamin Sesko for you. Can Newcastle be in position with the Arab money sign this guy in the name of Benjamin Sesko? That's the $1 million question that everyone is asking. And Alexander Isak, as per talk, is training alone. He is training alone, really. He is training with the real source that where he played for them before he crossed over to Newcastle United. And Liverpool has spent a lot of money in the transfer market. This money has been very huge. That the Liverpool has so far spent around £250 million. This is the money that Liverpool has so far spent on the transfer market. And they are still looking for other actual options. They want to buy a centre back in the names of Maki Guehi from Crystal Palace. Can they be in position to sign him? Of course, he has left with the 12-month contract with Newcastle United. That's something that I thought is also worth, also needed to inform you. Of course, Mark Guehi, no doubt about him. Of course, he has established himself to be one of the biggest players in the team of Newcastle United. But I think he can offer something very tangible for Liverpool Football Club. Alexander Isak, really, a very good actual player to watch in there. Before I talk about other stories, and I leave Liverpool stories, let me talk about the start numbers that Liverpool has kind of released officially. Which players will be doing which numbers? One of the biggest one is a player that they signed in the names of Foreigner West will be doing that number that has been actually vacated by a player in the names of Luis Diaz. You know, Diaz has crossed over to Bayern Munich, and at Bayern he will be doing that number 14. And then Foreigner West has taken up that number at Liverpool. That number 7 is what this guy will be doing. And then the player that they sign in the names of Hugo Kitike will be doing that number 22 with his age bracket. That's number 22. Will he be in position to sign actually at Liverpool with that number? And then some of the other players who have been given, certain numbers in that team of Liverpool Football Club include Mavadas will be done with that number 25. And then Woodman will be done with that number 28. And then Amrin Pesci will be done with that number 41. Connor Bradley has switched from that number 84. He'll be done in that number 12. You remember, he is an academic graduate actually at Liverpool Football Club. He'll be done in that number. And then Terry Nyoni, who actually changed his number from 98 to 42. This is something that Liverpool have kind of swiftly done in what we call dozen numbers. So they have kind of changed the dozen numbers. So that clearly says that the Liverpool are really here for something else. Let's talk about Chelsea Football Club. The biggest indicates that the Chelsea Football Club are set to have a player in the names of GEROH. He was already here at England today, and he was set to have his medicals with Chelsea Football Club and sign a contract for Chelsea Football Club. I don't want to talk about that guy. Of course, I have talked about him again and again. He is really a very good player for Chelsea Football Club. Still very young, 19 years old. He has got something very big to offer for Chelsea Football Club. I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about Chelsea Football Club. They are ready to give 2 players from Manchester United in a swap deal to lure a player in the name of Alejandro Garnacho, who said that his primary target is to play for Chelsea Football Club, and that's what started actually coming way back in January. Chelsea wanted to sign him. United put the price tag very high, £70 million for Alejandro Garnacho, who has never clicked very well with Ruben Amorim since that Europa League final against Spurs when he was benched, and Mason Mount was actually started ahead of him. He had got issues. By the time when even Manchester United sacked actually Eric Ten Hag, and Rudy Van Nistelrooy was given that interim actual role, this guy scored a very good goal in the Premier League under the stewards of Rudy Van Nistelrooy. He refused to celebrate. That clearly says that he is becoming into longer heads. He is still very young, 22 years old. Is it down to adolescence that's trying to actually affect him? That's Alejandro Garnacho for you. But I thought him being a white, he has got the maturity already in him. He can't actually behave like that. Of course, we have seen Manchester United being ruthless with the youngsters who are kind of not obeying by the rules. We have seen players like Mason Greenwood leaving Manchester United because of sexual issues. When Manchester United board says, we don't want you here anymore, they always mean it business. And this guy is being attracted by Chelsea Football Club, and Chelsea are saying they don't have any conduct, any concern about his actual attitude, his character, the way how he behaves, the way how he does things. They are saying that they are confident enough with this guy in the name of Alejandro Garnacho. But I think when this guy crosses out to that team of Chelsea Football Club, he can add something very, very good for Chelsea Football Club. Of course, he is a very pacey player. With the style of play, I think at Chelsea Football Club, he can even sign very well compared to what he's offering for Manchester United. If he can be important to leave, sometimes his behaviors of being too much selfish, he can leave to the billion actually at Chelsea Football Club. We've seen players like Cole Palmer making amends actually for Chelsea Football Club, and he is already being one of the recognized players in Europe right now. That's Cole Palmer for you. Can Chelsea Football Club convince this guy and give this guy to United? Sign this guy and give the priorities that they think they are surplus to requirement actually at Stamford Bridge. One of the players that Chelsea Football Club is saying that they wanted to give out is a player in the names of Nicholas Jackson and Christopher Nkuku. Does Manchester United really need these players? What can they offer to United? This is something that I think these players can't offer so much for United per now. Maybe slightly you can talk about a player in the names of Jackson. Yes, Jackson has been someone who has been spearheading that team of Chelsea Football Club. You remember, he has been solely carrying that team of Chelsea Football Club. But he was not actually getting those goals frequently for Chelsea Football Club. He can get for 1 or 2 goals. That's Nicholas Jackson for you. Can Manchester United sign him and rely too much on him? Of course, they still have got Rasmus Holland, who said he is here to actually fight for his position. Manchester United is talking about strikers. He is here to fight for his position. So I think United has got a lot to offer about that. And this guy in the names of Enzo Maresca has already signed a number of players for Chelsea Football Club up front, which means these guys will be a subject of bench material actually at Chelsea Football Club. Jackson can't bench a player in the names of Liam Delap. Jackson can't bench a player in the names of João Pedro. Absolutely not. Then they have Jamie Gittins as well at the helm. They can't really bench some of these players. That's according to my observation in there. Let's first talk about Aston Villa before we go to other stories in there. Aston Villa are reportedly interested in FC Porto striker, that's Samu Agbehoa. You remember, Agbehoa has been one of the fast rising strikers in Europe for now. Of course, he actually started his playing career down in Spain in a team called Granada. And in that team of Granada, he was kind of fast rising, That's when team Atletico Madrid actually spotted him, and then after Atletico Madrid spotting him, he crossed over to a team in the names of Alaves. Then from Alaves, that's when this guy got an opportunity to play for a team in the names of FC Porto. Guess what? At FC Porto, former Chelsea boss Anders Veers Boas is the club president at a team in the names of FC Porto. Can they have something? You don't know. Porto and Anders Veers Boas, they are really very rigid when it comes to talking about, when it comes to selling players, when it comes to negotiation deals. They are really very hard. And they are saying that if Aston Villa truly wants this guy, they have to pay amount in a region of £55 million if they really needed this guy's services. But I think with the European affairs and Aston Villa will be playing in what we call the Europa League, they really need a striker. All the Watkins won't be all that much reliable in the case of issues of injuries, and there will be a lot of games to be played in. But I think Chelsea Football Club will really, Aston Villa will need to sign this guy. Of course, he is still very young, 22 years old. He can offer something very good for them. Scoring around 27 goals last season for Sporting CP, for FC Porto in 45 appearances. That's created that he has got that attributes with him of scoring good goals. He is dubbed to be that monster in the team of FC Porto. Now, Victor Joker is not there. It's high time that he needs to actually to cement himself and make amends. See that he proves himself to the media. He proves it to the other club that he is a player to watch. That's a player in the names of Samu Aguero. Very, very actually young star. Still 22 years old. He can offer something very good for Aston Villa. Let's cross over to Spurs and we talk about one of the latest players that they are actually set to announce very soon in the names of Yao Palina. You remember, Yao Palina is said to have a medical test with Team Spurs today, and it's going to be a season-long deal. He'll be having one full season with a team in the names of Tottenham Hotspur, which have already acquired the services of winger Mohammad Kudus from West Ham United. And remember, Spurs will be playing in what we call the UEFA Champions League after winning the Europa League final against United. So they have got that shortcut of playing the Champions League. Very, very much back to the positive in there. And this guy at Bayern, he has not been having that playing time, and due to that, he agreed with the hierarchy, with the technical team of Bayern that he really wanted to go and play on loan. And Fulham wanted to actually resign him. Of course, he has been one of the biggest players for Fulham Football Club. And at Tottenham Hotspur, I think he can offer something very good for Spurs actually in that holding midfield role. Of course, Spurs really need to have that experience. Of course, with Bayern, he has played in the Champions League. Then coming back actually for Spurs, I think he can add something very good for Spurs in that midfield setup with Team Spurs in there. But I think due to limited actually game time at Bayern, of course, he can bench players like Joshua Kimmich, Leon Goretzka, one of my biggest players, my best players in the team of Bayern Munich. He can't blend them. He can't blend a player in the names of Alexander Patrovic. Really, this is something that I think that's a very good decision taken by Yao Paulina. At 30 years old, he can really offer something very, very good for a team in the names of Spurs in the midfield, and Spurs will be here, a team to watch when it comes to giving hard times in the Champions League for clubs. Let's talk about some of the gossips coming up today. One of the biggest one is about Manchester United, still interested in RB Leipzig, actually a striker in the names of Benjamin Sesko, and they're saying that they are willing to give a player in the names of Rasmus Holland in a part exchange to see that this guy comes and plays for them. Of course, this is something that I think can work, but to some extent, if you wanted to assemble a team, Holland has got the Premier League experience. Much as he's not actually having those moments of finding the back of the net. I think Manchester United really needed to give him that priority stay put with United, but sign this guy in the name of Benjamin Sesko, who still need to come in and adapt. That's one of the things that I think United will be much missing, and that will be one of the biggest mistakes that I think the board of Manchester United will be doing that. That's one of the updates I can tell you. One of the latest is that Jadon Sancho is ready actually to cut down his actual price. And remember, Sancho is earning around £300 million actually at United, and he is set to cut it by 50%. So if we calculate that, which means he will be imposed to earn around 150 plus something. That's when, if you want to find a club, of course, United are saying that they should find their own clubs. Garnacho is also looking for ways. Sancho is also looking for ways. Juventus came knocking for him. And then here comes Dortmund again. Dortmund are saying that he really wants to reduce his actual earnings. You see that he can be accommodated actually into their system. That's something that I felt I needed also to inform you about. Let's talk about Nico O'Reilly. He said to sign another contract with Manchester City. He plays in that left-hand side very well, actually for Manchester City in the Premier League. And at the team of Manchester City, giving this youngster a new contract is something that I thought is over-appreciated. Of course, I already see other clubs coming in for his services. Clubs like Bayer Leverkusen came knocking for his services. He is really someone whom I think can offer something good for Manchester City. Of course, the project is actually to see that Manchester City needs to have English-born players. Manchester City has got a number of them, but they have gone. They have left Manchester City already. So, letting this guy go will also actually have concerts over Manchester City. Of course, Premier League has its rules that in England, at least you need to have at least 7 home-born players into your system. And Manchester City has less. And giving this guy a new contract is something that I thought is going to be very, very good for Liverpool Football Club. That's something that I thought I also needed to share with you about in there. Let's talk about Juventus a little bit. Juventus, Atalanta, Napoli, and Roma are showing an interest in Matt O'Reilly, who plays for Brighton. And at Brighton, he has really been one of the biggest players in that midfield of Team Brighton. And he has been workaholic enough. He is the reason that's why Brighton disturbs clubs for fun. Of course, those guys, I'm telling you, the tortured of this world, when they sit in the team of Brighton was not an easy team. Of course, they were disappointing big teams, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal. They were really giving them hard times. And these clubs have not started actually looking for ways of signing this guy away. That's the latest that I felt like I needed to give you. My time is virtually up. I needed to leave the city for the next program to come in. Catch us again on Monday. Of course, that's when it will be important to come here again. I'm talking about sports, and what I'll be bringing for you the live commentary between Omia Agro Business up against teachers, rural teachers in the corporate league on Sunday. The game will be at 10 a.m. That's the only game that we shall be broadcasting for you live at Twampe. For those who are much interested in that, you can go on there and see how we do our stuffs at Twambe. We shall be there live at Twambe. I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Up next is other interesting programs coming next.